What's up? Welcome to the coaches meeting. That's the coach. I'm Grant Cohn. We're going to talk about the Niners. Don't get us wrong. But we want to start with the Parsons trade because it's the talk of the NFL. I mean, it's what the Niners are talking about. It's what everyone's talking about. It's a fascinating trade. Micah freaking Parsons, one of the best players in the league, from the Cowboys to the Packers, 2 firsts, and Kenny Clark gets it done. The Packers are going to pay $47 million a year for Micah Parsons. Who do you think won the trade?
The Packers won the trade. Even if you look at the context, Grant, they got a player because you don't trade for a player like Micah Parsons unless you're like a player away from trying to be a Super Bowl contender or win a championship. That's where the Packers believe they are. And good on them. But 2 first-round picks and a defensive tackle, not even a requisite player, not even another edge, but a defensive tackle. Look, I do not like this. Kenny Clark is a phenomenal player, right? But he's nothing to write home about and shouldn't be anywhere near a deal like this. One thing that Micah Parsons, just the player alone, okay, drafted in 2021, he's had 12 plus sacks in the first 4 years of his career, okay? He leads he leads the NFL. He leads the NFL with 335 pressures, and he's only missed 5 games in his career. I mean, right now, the only player that is on a clip moving this way as far as career trajectory was Randy was White from Green Bay. So for me, I don't understand it. I think that, to be honest, Jerry kind of had he thought he had a wink deal with Micah. He should have never tried to start negotiations with a player prematurely. And he thought that he was standing on a bad faith gesture where, to be honest with you, Micah Parsons is no match for Jerry Jones when it comes to table cards up negotiations. So for me, I think that immediately the Dallas Cowboys, they're not a Super Bowl contender, but their defense just went from mediocre to abysmally bad. They just gave away the division to either the Eagles or the Commanders, and immediately you can't play with picks. So what are you going to do outside of just having Clark? I think the Cowboys, they missed the boat here.
I want to talk about it from the Packers' perspective first. They're like a really solid team, offense and defense, but there's not one player on their team that you're like, man, how are we gonna stop him? And they don't have a receiver. Jacobs is a good running back, but he's not like the best. I think that this is a no-brainer for them. It's the kind of move they had to make because what's the point of running it back a third year with the same team that lost to the Eagles in the playoffs last year and lost to the Niners the year before and think it's going to be different this year? Why? Because Jordan Love is going to take this huge step, or like Romeo Dobbs is going to, like, what's different about your solid meat and potatoes team? Now you have like a real 5-star entree on your menu, and everything else is kind of falls in line as like appetizers and side dishes. I think now you look at them as like, that's a scary team. They might be, I don't know if they're better than the Eagles, because the Eagles have that incredible defense with Vic Fangio and all those young guys, but they're right there. And I think that's the class of the NFC, those 2 teams. Maybe the Niners, the Bucks. There's other teams that are sort of way behind, but I think they just vaulted themselves up there with the Eagles. And then from the Cowboys perspective, I don't really mind it from the Cowboys perspective, although why do you want Kenny Clark? He's going to be 30 in a few months. That doesn't make any sense. You should be rebuilding because you're not going anywhere. Your team isn't that good. You weren't going to win the division with Micah Parsons. Start over. And now at least you get 2 first-round picks each of the next 2 years. You could draft a quarterback. You could trade Dak Prescott too. I think they should rebuild. So I don't have a problem, but like Kenny Clark, what? I don't
What
understand.
just doesn't make sense to me is that fiscally, why do you stand on business with Micah Parsons? I think Jerry Jones got really personal. He kind of messed this one up, to be honest with you. You paid CD, you paid Dak. I don't understand why Micah Parsons isn't right in line to be one of those players that you get the deal done. It just doesn't make sense to me immediately. Now, on the flip side of it, a lot of people could say, hey, look, we've seen enough of Micah Parsons. We've been in big games with big moments with him, and he shrank. I mean, he wasn't necessarily a factor, i.e., look at the 2 games that we played the Cowboys in the playoffs where we all but nullified Micah Parsons for the most part. As far as like actually getting them over the hump, they could say that he's pretty much a one-dimensional player, a speed rusher who doesn't necessarily impose himself in the run game. We've seen that as well, and they're looking at a trajectory of him not being able to be worth $40+ million a year. So um I see it from the Cowboys standpoint as well. And then on top of it, they're not in contention right
Right.
now. So this would be the biggest, this would be right now, make the move to say, look, let's offload this. Why would we pay and double down when right now and for the foreseeable future, we don't see ourselves as contenders. And on top of it, this move really highlights Dak. Dak better watch out because I bet dollars to donuts. There's at least 4 to 5 like worthy first round picks of quarterbacks coming in this next year's draft. Okay. 3 off the top of my head is the Sellers kid, Lenore Sellers. You got Arch Manning and Drew Alar out of Penn State. That's 3 right off the top of my head. Dallas right now, they could be in a position where they can package themselves to move up to go get exactly who they want as a quarterback for next year. So all is not lost for Dallas, but just for right now, it's shocking. And as far as the net, as far as the scales of who got more, who got less, Dallas got hosed, just flat out.
Look at it this way, though. Um, from Dallas's perspective, they really have no business spending $47 million per year on a non-quarterback because they're not contenders. That doesn't put you over the top. It kind of just locks you into this mediocrity that you've been in for a while. So I get that. And then, like, to me, they could win the trade. See, I love the trade from Green Bay's perspective because it's putting your nuts on the table, for lack of a better word. Like, we're all in, and I mean, there's high stakes here because if they don't go to 2 NFC Championship games in the next 4 years, if they don't go to a Super Bowl, I mean, you're gonna look at like, man, you spent all this money for this guy, you traded away 2 first round picks, it didn't work. Like, you could get fired if you don't
Mhm.
like really put yourself in the winner's circle. Dallas, like, damn, we're rebuilding. We tried it. Our team wasn't working. Our core wasn't working. We had to rebuild. You guys
Mhm.
give it a shot. You go try to beat the Eagles. Oh, you didn't? Ah, it's too bad. Well, guess we have your first round pick for the next 2 years. It could work out for Dallas. I just don't understand the Kenny Clark. Like, why, dude? He's 30. What are you doing, man? You want to be bad. You're tanking. I
Yeah,
don't get it.
but then at the same time, Kenny Clark can be almost a little bit of insurance, a bridge, right? Like it's going to be rough. We might as well go ahead and get a starting defensive tackle that can hold us down in rough games. When you circle the wagons, you don't deserve to make it look pretty. You just do the best you can on the way down, right? And right now, offloading Micah Parsons is a tough blow. It doesn't look good. Obviously, the optics are all over the place, but if you're Dallas and you're being pragmatic about where you stand right now, this deal almost had to have been done.
Doesn't this say what Dallas thinks of Micah? It's like, you
Yeah.
want all this money, you one trick pony. Like, we're going to trade you for picks and a nose tackle. You know why? Because teams are running the ball. We got to go through Philly.
Mhm.
It doesn't help to have you against Philly. They throw the ball like 17 times a game. They run the
Mhm.
ball right down our throats. We can't stop them. So you know
Yeah.
what? Thank you for everything, man. But we're going to go with the nose tackle.
One thing that I love about the NFL is that it is a meritocracy in that whoever wins the Super Bowl, that is the style of football that rules the league. And you just love the fact that the Eagles won the Super Bowl because what is back in the league right now with the Eagles right now? The trenches. Okay.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to get trenches on the front line and the back line.
Big
Not
dudes,
even,
not
yeah,
just like
yeah.
sleek, fast, quick dudes. No,
Right. Not big speed. We're talking about real road
big.
graders that are
Yeah.
built for the winter, right?
Yeah.
And I love it. One thing that I love about this also is that the importance of the running back, a real
Mhm.
running back, a bell cow running back is coming back into the NFL. No more of these auxiliary backs, these specialist guys, these third down backs, glorified receivers. No, We're talking about 5'10" to 6'2", 205 pounds to 225 pounds. A guy that's going to carry the rock for no less than 18 to 22 carries a game, and he's going to score at least one time. I mean, a real back, okay?
And you're going to have
Somebody
guys
that
at the top of the league like 1,800 yards, 1,900 yards,
yes.
2,000 yards. We didn't see that 10 years ago. It's back.
Right. And with a better run game, what it's going to do is going to start exposing these quarterbacks who get all of these empty calorie stats. Okay. We need to
Dak.
slow the game down and we need to start making these boys play technique football. The reason why all of these injuries and everything's all over the place, the game's way too fast. It's wide open. So to get back onto the point, though, why I love the fact that the Eagles won the Super Bowl is that because it leans on things about the trenches and where the Cowboys are. If you want to talk about being one of the rough and tough teams as far as an avatar is concerned, Dallas goes right up there with being one of those teams that cares about their line of scrimmage. And if they moved on from Micah Parsons, this is a team that had DeMarcus Ware. This is a team that had Nate Newton. Okay, we're talking about some of the best linemen in the game have come through Dallas. And if Jerry wants to move on from them, there's some people that are leaning on that expertise and saying he knows what he's talking about.
David Kendall Jr. says, I'm not sure what Jerry is thinking. If he had extended Micah last year, it would have been cheaper. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to give him credit, but it definitely seems like it got personal between him and Micah Parsons, and it feels kind of like an Al Davis situation. Like, hey, man, you're kind of losing your judgment. You're getting sort of petty and personal with players and hurting the team. But at the same time, I still get it. I don't think they had any business paying him, and he's going to try to spin this like it's a Herschel Walker deal. But again, 2 firsts, is that enough?
Ain't enough of a haul.
That ain't enough. I feel like you could have got more.
Yeah.
Maybe, but you had to have Kenny Clark. Wyatt Himmelman says, has the 49ers loyalty to draft mistakes like Trey Lance? Oh, yeah, they were super loyal to Trey Lance. Javon Kinlaw, Jake Moody cost them a Super Bowl, and does that expose a deeper ego issue in the front office?
You know what? All of these players that he just mentioned, the common denominator between all three is that none of them were the best at what they did. They were here to fill a role, right? So it's not like Javon Kinlaw was hands down the best D tackle when he got picked, but he fit a role because he was big, he was tall, and he looked like DeForest Buckner if you tilt your head and squint your eyes. That's why they picked up Javon Kinlaw. The same thing with Jake Moody. One of the biggest things that they never got out of Robbie Gould that they hated was that Robbie Gould was not a long distance field goal maker, okay? Even though he was accurate. And that was the 20. We had the 80%. Well, what'd they do? They traded the 80% in efficiency, accuracy, and consistency from Robbie Gould and picked it up in Jake Moody, who can kick a country mile, but he can't hit the wide side of a barn, okay? And then in Trey Lance, God knows, he was just everything Jimmy wasn't, and Jimmy wasn't anything to begin with. So there was always that. So what they've always done is when they pick high, they pick guys that are for roles to the recipe, but not real football players.
Dazza says, what does the Parsons contract say for what Bosa might want in his next extension? Is even worth it? We're going to talk about that. I think it tells you exactly what Bosa's going to want. If he has 47, Parsons, and Bosa's going to want 48. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted an extension as soon as next year, although depends on what he does this year. Joe JC says 2 firsts and a bag of hair is all it took. Hold on. Kenny Clark went to UCLA. Take that back. Don't remind us what Kyle Shanahan does with his firsts unless you're also going to send a wellness check. Fair enough, Joe JC. Varuner says Packers are not a Micah Parsons away from winning the Super Bowl. Bad DBs, unproven receivers, and $20 million liability. Aaron Banks starting at guard. Crying emoji. I mean, they lost to the Eagles by 5 in the playoffs last year. They lost to the Niners by 3. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, who else are you going to trade for? Are you just going to sit on your hands and be like, maybe we'll get lucky this year? Maybe Matthew Golden. Like, I don't know. I mean, I respect it. What else are you going to do?
You think they're forcing LaFleur's hand, though? Like, as being the head coach? You think, like, they kind of see he's close and LaFleur's like, all right, we got a team. We can put it together. And maybe the organization was like, just to put a little bit of pressure on you to make sure that you got to make it happen. Here you go.
I love it. He's been there for like 8 years. I mean, he's been terrible in the playoffs. A big reason I think you still would give the Eagles the edge over the Packers is straight up coaching. Like, say what you want about Nick Sirianni. Who's a better head coach, Sirianni or LaFleur?
Sirianni.
Yeah. All day, every day, Kim says, Coach Micah will be definitely better with Green Bay. They're a better franchise. If they fire LaFleur, they could always hire a defensive coach. I feel like a lot of people would want to be the coach of that team.
I hate to say
With
this, man, but you know who would look really good over there? Say it
Saleh.
with me. Salah.
Saleh.
Salah.
Now
Say
LaFleur
it
is
with
like
me.
his best friend, so I don't know, but like it's business. I don't know. Peter does not drink, says shout out Mama Ayu. As always, Double B Studio says, what's up?
Is that maybe the reason why Robert Saleh, tinfoil hat time, by the
Okay.
way, is that maybe the reason why Robert Saleh turned down working on Green Bay's staff to consult with them to come here? Because he was like, you know what? I low key know you're about to get canned, dude, and I can't really be in the building.
Yeah.
How ill would that be?
Yeah,
it's
it's
I don't
true.
know.
And if he's about to go to Green Bay and leave the Niners that's what Mike Holmgren did once upon a time. Maybe the Niners are like, wait a second, we got a job for you.
We're about to get Holmgren.
Oh my God.
Yo, we called it. Save this clip if this happens.
This is true. Holmgren. Cowboys won the trade. They should have traded Bosa like this. Defensive players are a unit, should get all paid the same each position. Cowboys save money. Now the Packers spent like the Niners. Yeah, but I mean, there was a couple years ago when the Rams traded for Jalen Ramsey and won the Super Bowl. And then back before I was born, the Raiders traded for Mike Haynes in like 1983 and then beat Washington in the Super Bowl. There is precedent for teams that are one player away going and trading for that one great defensive player who can shut down one side of the field or ruin one side of your offensive line. I mean, it's happened before. Just saying. And again, if you're going to make it, if you think you're one player away, what player could you add who's not a quarterback who's better than Micah Parsons? I mean, he's right there. What a player to add. I'm just saying. The only pass rusher worthy is TJ.
Stop it.
A Christian Villa Pendomus Sila says, I'm still mad you can't. Damn it. Christian Villa.
It's so funny. That was the first sentence, though.
Okay, hold on. Villal Pando Messias. Okay. Vial Pando Messias. Vial Pando. Thank you very much. If you get it wrong with my $5, Christian Vial. Man, Christian Vial Pando Messias. Christian Vial Pando Messias.
No S.
Let's go. I'm keeping that $5, baby. Rippin' Lips says, F the Cowboys. Dak will Dak. Pearsall is wide receiver 2 at best. We need a dog at wide receiver. And y'all know banana hands will crumble in the crunch. New jerseys are fire. I actually agree with that. I like Ricky a lot. I'm not saying he's not a dog, but like Juwan's a very good compliment to him. And it's too bad the Niners can't work that out. I don't know what they thought this was good. I feel like they think they're calling Juwan's bluff, and I don't think he's bluffing. That's the way I look at it.
I also think that Juwan may play himself out of a role because Demarcus Robinson is coming right here in 3 weeks.
I also think that Juwan is better than Demarcus Robinson. But if Juwan hasn't had any training camp and he does have a messed up calf, I don't even know what to expect from him.
Right. Like Juwan's one of my favorite players on the team. What sucks about this is that there's a conversation about his contract and then there's a conversation about football. And what's crazy is that the narrative of his contract exponentially gets stale the moment football starts being played because now he's a distraction, right? And then it's like you gotta play, and now that he has to play, he's hurt.
Yeah. Rippin' Lip says $2 for some Cowboy hate. You gotta love it. Propa says, that's why I feel like the Cowboys are still the Niners rivals. Because like if the Seahawks do something, Niners fans don't really care.
Don't care.
But if it's the Cowboys, it's like, wait. This is the best day. Needed this.
We're such frenemies.
Propa says, as someone who has watched Grant trade Bosa numerous times, I was not moved by this trade. We're going to talk about Bosa coming up. All day, every day, Kim says, you can try to mimic what the best team is doing, but most teams don't have the front office that Philly has. Or the defensive coordinator. God, he's good. Rippin' Lip says, trade Kyle the Cowgirls for Bucky's brisket sandwich. Never been to Bucky's.
Yeah, I've never been to Bucky's either. I hear it's
I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas.
Heard it's quite an experience. I don't think Bucky's are just in Texas, are they?
Okay. I haven't spent a lot of time in the South.
I think they're like down south too.
Okay. All right. Well, Tommy Huxley says, run at 11. He is useless as a butt on an elbow. Oh, wow. Baby Radiant says Micah disappears in the playoffs. Well, so do the Packers. Oh, Chris Sims says, with the first round pick Dallas has now, do the Cowboys tank for Arch Manning? No, they just traded for freaking Kenny Clark. They're not tanking.
Dude.
No.
They may get Arch Manning. I'm telling you.
They might. And mess it up. ACU says the next time the Cowboys do a documentary, it needs to be on the History Channel. Packers defense still sucks, by the way. Okay.